Hi, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, wish you all a very happy Deepavali, and I hope you have a great time with your family, and all of you have an amazing year ahead. Today is the Nifty expiry. I don't have any trades live as such. This which is almost dead and going to close at zero, and it has a stop loss. Basically, the first half I couldn't really capitalize or make any money. It was break even. The Bank Nifty or algo, it lost about 20 points on 1000 sizing. So that. And yeah, rest of the day, not really interested in trading at these premiums. So that is that. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's basically going to be a conclusion of what has been an amazing journey, and a conclusion in the sense that when we first started out with the intraday trading playlist, right? So this was way back in Jan of 21. The idea was that there is absolutely nobody at that point who was putting videos in that format where you take live positions and you manage them and so on and so forth. That was absolutely unheard of. Nobody was displaying their terminal. And it was to show that look, money can be made from trading. You can have a systematic approach to it. And if you follow discipline, then you are bound to make money and you don't have to take all kinds of undue risk, and you can take very small risk and still make money consistently. So that was the idea, and I think it went on really well. And over a period of time, there are different things that came up, but one of the big things that came up was everything that I had to cover, which I felt I had to offer, I had already put across. I have already put across everything that I know in that playlist. And among the other presentations or podcasts that I've done, I'm more or less put across everything that I know. And after that, it's just repetitive. So you don't really have a huge motivation because you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Yes, market regimes will keep changing, but essentially, the core principles will all remain the same. And that's all there is to talk about, right? So that is one aspect. And secondly, I always had this thing, and this is more to do with priorities, right? The priority is that as long as social media and showing your performance and what you're doing, what you're not doing, is not affecting my trading in any way, I'm completely fine with it. The moment it started to affect my idea was that I will no longer do it. And I think I've reached that point where I feel like I'm inhibiting myself simply because of the additional psychological pressure that I'm putting on myself from doing this entire social media thing. So I don't see the point of it anymore, because even when I came into a trading rhythm, I developed my style, I developed certain systems. It was through a lot of experimentation and just like playing around in the market, and then figuring things out. Now I feel I've reached a situation where a lot of things that I'm experimenting, be it now with algos, certain amount of systematic trading, and some other kinds of discretionary trading, certain formats as well. I feel that I'm inhibiting myself simply because I feel, what will other people think, right? Like, and how does that matter? At the end of the day, the question is, how does that matter? But you have this reputation to keep up, that okay, look, when I started my account, it was this, and it grows, and every month, no matter what happens, the account grows. And it's possible to do that, but at the same time, I'm doing a little bit of injustice to myself by not giving myself the room to grow, room to expand, room to experiment things. And you don't need any kind of additional psychological pressure on top of that. So that being said, it's not going to be a complete cutoff. I will still be on Twitter, and I will post things at different points, some relevant, some not so relevant. But I think this entire instinct of, okay, putting out everything about my trade, right? The entire trade log, the like lakhs and lakhs of line items of trade logs, and this is my daily gain, and this is my monthly performance, because I've actually done that for since the time this started. And this account, from the time it was probably incorporated last year April, it has doubled, essentially, from the time I actually put this together, and from the time I actually started this series, it's probably gone up 4x in the previous accounts as well. So I think it's achieved whatever we wanted to achieve. At the onset, we wanted to achieve this thing where we can show that money can be made systematically. Money can be made in not you don't need magic, you don't need rocket science, you don't have to be a genius to make money. So like, I mean, this account, from the time it has started, right? It's done fairly all right. And yeah, so that's more or less what I'm putting across here. That this series has been great, but I think it's about time, because neither is there some kind of huge value add. Most people, if they have the time and put in the effort to go through from the beginning, and I know it is a lot. It's not an easy task. It's hundreds of hours of stuff to go through. It's not an easy task. So, and like this month, for example, I'll tell you what really had what really happened, right? It's not this month's thing, but it's also an every month thing, right? So I'm making profits at this point. Before this algo loss that I took, I was up 2%, and I was thinking to myself literally that, oh, okay, look, I can't like afford to lose X money, because then it will look bad at the end of the month, where I wouldn't have made like at least 2% or 3% or whatever this thing. And that is I think that is extremely unhealthy. I can't, I'm not making money to say that, look, no matter what, I make money every month. That's not okay. And I want to do some amount of experimentation. And in the process of experimentation, I know that I will be losing some money. I've kind of accepted that, look, till 5%, I've never had, forget 5% order. I never go into a drawdown phase. If you see purely on a F&O, F&O basis, ignoring the equity, I don't have a drawdown fees, because my risks are so little. Max maybe 0.5%, 1%. I might be down at any point of time, but at the end of the month, I'm either flat or slightly positive. The worst months will probably be flat, right? But that doesn't work. Now, this desire that I want to have like very, very consistent growth, that's good. That's extremely good, but it can also be highly inhibiting, right? So that's at this point I'm rambling, but more or less what I'm trying to put across is that it is in my interest at this point for me to not continue with this series. And I think everything that had to be covered is covered, and the goal that we wanted to achieve has been achieved. It's not that there's anything further that is super incremental that I have to add. So that's more or less where things stand. So if you like enjoyed this series, and if this has been of use to you, I think the goal from the beginning was have some positive impact on somebody's life, right? And what more can one really want than that? I've seen a lot of people who, I mean, not taking no credit from anyone, because at the end of the day, you decide what happens, right? Your work decides what happens to your account. But a lot of people have come and said to me that, look, I had no idea how to trade, and then like I started following what you do, and now I'm making good money. And they've added their own twists and mixes, obviously individualized, and that makes me like the happiest person ever. So having had that kind of an impact, even to a very limited extent, I think is what we were going for, and that has more or less been achieved at this point. So with that, I'm going to conclude this. Probably said the same things on repeat, but yeah, I wish you the best trading journey ahead. And I will not be posting videos or mark to markets on Twitter or YouTube going forward. And but at the same time, I'm always on Twitter, so that, I mean, we can always have a conversation. I will post whatever I feel about the market anyway, so that's probably going to be that. But for this series, it is more or less concluded from my side. Thank you so much for all the support that has been given over the period of time. I really appreciate it. It was a hell of a journey, and the journey doesn't end. I mean, obviously, there will be continued engagement in other ways and shapes and form whenever there's an opportunity for that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week ahead. Take care. Bye.